Tea time with Runepest.
Hey, Tempest.
Are we live?
We are.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Oh, Tempest, we have a special guest. Welcome, Rini. Welcome, Tempest.
Who's
Hello,
the
hello.
special guest?
It's me.
We have a
Here.
lot to cover. It is good
Right
to be
there.
back. Most importantly, before we get started, what tea is everybody drinking today?
Earl Grey,
Really
as always.
Earl Grey. Is
Earl
it?
Grey is good.
Everybody wants to know: is there any additional things in your tea?
Right.
No, I'm
Why don't
going
you
to
ever
wait. What?
it makes it nice. You add like little leaves of like mint or something. I don't know.
Tempest, take some of that plant back there and put it in your tea and tell us how it goes.
There you go. There you go.
I like my tea clear. We also found out that Rune is a tea elitist. Apparently, just boiling water and pouring it in with tea is no. You
Did
have to
not
have
know-
specific temperature for each type of tea.
I
tea
spend more money
seems
every
best.
month on tea than you've spent in the entirety of Mythgard by like a lot. So let's put it that way. Yeah.
It's not really
Uh,
hard, but it doesn't mean anything.
Rini, what about you? What are you drinking today?
Well, I was going to have a hibiscus tea, but I ran out of time, so now I am embarrassed and I have iced tea.
Iced tea. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Rooney had
Green iced
13
tea.
minutes to make
Rini-
tea, and
Very
now
Texan.
he's
Rini
like,
may
"No."
never get invited back to tea time for that one, but we'll do what we can.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I apologize.
it's all right. I'm drinking a delicious Taiwanese high mountain oolong tea.
Tea
Ooh,
elitist.
that sounds great.
And you know why you want high mountain, Tempest? Do you know why you want tea preferably from the high mountains?
I don't know, because you're a Highlander.
What?
Altitude something?
Well, that's part of it, but also less pollution, right? Because less of the water as
Oh.
it goes down the mountain, the lower it goes, picks up more minerals and more pollution, and so therefore it is better for your body to have high mountain tea. So there you go.
That's very
You
cool.
learned something new
Good
today.
to know.
Where's ejected? We interject now. Okay.
He can't handle it.
All right. So we're here because something happened this week.
Something did happen.
What happened, Rini?
We just had a balance update that had a lot of really big changes.
It was a small balance update, we were told.
It was a
but
small balance update, but it had a lot of big effects.
big changes coming our way. And Tempest, you've played post patch a little bit.
Yeah, one stream, I said 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't know.
And I've been messing around as well, and it's a lot of fun. It feels like Mythgard has minions that can stay in play and are doing minion things again. And so I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. So
That's the best way.
Definitely the patch is a good step up. A lot of positive things about it.
What do you
and
think?
I will say this patch would not have happened without Rini. So I mean, it all started with a survey. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad. I really feel like I wanted to just get a lot of feedback from people. I wanted to kind of pin down like why do people have a lot of these issues? Like let's pin down where the issues are like mainly coming from and try and go from there. So I'm really fortunate that we were able to make such a big sweeping change with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't really need to search for the issues though, but yeah.
But it's good to have
You need
broad
to have feedback. Yeah.
broad feedback. Yeah,
I
and
think
broad
that-
feedback means you get more buy-in and excitement when changes are made. And so
Yeah, I think that that's also a lot of it is that a lot of people ask for a lot of these specific changes, and then they're seeing this, this happen like in succession, and I think that makes a big difference. Yeah. So
yeah, so we're gonna start our stream by going through some of these changes, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about some things that are coming up and Rini's job and whatever else we end up talking about. We never stay on topic.
Personal questions.
Questions, life questions, love questions, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, but let's get to the balance changes. The big one is first, Tempest. Safe house.
Yeah, it's I really expected the nerf to be just like the sundown part, the getting the flag at this other, at sundown and losing life is just like a bit. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be hit so hard. I played a bit of Rebellion. I actually think it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
Do you think that it being just sundown would have made it still feel playable for you?
if if the first the draw should have been sundown, but I feel like
Right.
the flag should have been sunrise, and and I know you could technically keep the life, but it's not really super relevant. But so I feel like then it could be playable.
I know when I had discussed this originally, we had discussed like either life reduction and um I don't recall exactly how we formatted it, but it was either sundown only or these other things. And so I'm curious to see how it plays out as far as, is it going to be too hard of a hit? Can we just, revert it really easily? Kind of go from there.
I don't know. As I said, I personally think the biggest problem of Rebellion Safe House is the first part, right? The one that draws you cards, and that definitely needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
Like Rebellion was like god tier. It never should be like super good, but it can at least be like normal, like reasonable, right? So
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I think
I kind of feel like it's not. It kind of went down. I can't really complain because the path is just was so annoying, imposing. Just yeah, I mean, literally, you can make any deck with it. It's crazy. I mean, everyone knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm really excited to try Safe House. I have no ability to try it before the tournament. Like this is one of those things where like creative deck building is really hard to do at this moment because we have a tournament in 9 days. But I think there's some yellow decks out there that will still really like Safe House as is. But I do think the flag at sundown is a big hit, and that's a bigger hit than people think of, especially against Command Center, because you get a card that you can't play in your hand at the end of your turn, which then helps Command Center
Right.
more likely get that energy as well. So not only is it hurting you by not being able to play it, it's also potentially helping Command Center by adding a card to your hand that helps them. So
it literally loses you the game, right? Because it's such a big thing. You can like block a big minion. You can kill something the turn earlier.
yeah.
I guess I
I
just
I
would.
think if you try Safe House, it'll be just like playing Turn of Seasons. You'll be like, no. But I
I'm not
hopefully you
sure.
do
I'm
something
not
like
sure. Rini, you were gonna say something there.
yeah.
I just feel like Rebellion Safe House has so many like I guess it benefits a lot from more so the later game. Obviously you need a good start, like, so I understand where it is a hit. I guess I just felt like Safe House probably benefits more, so it was less impactful in my opinion, I guess.
And I think that's important. And I do think yellow, I think this is going to find a home. If it finds a home anywhere, it's going to be in yellow. Like Blight works really well with Safe House, right?
Yeah.
Minions die on their turn. And so therefore you can have less on there.
Yeah.
Yellow also has lots of ways of, having really annoying minions that are 2-for-1s because they're like 1-4, 1-7. So I think
Yeah.
it's okay to have certain paths generating and being gravitating to certain colors, and I think this path will gravitate to yellow, almost in a way that like Command Center kind of gravitates towards red or some things like that, and that's completely
Right.
cool, and that's pretty neat how paths can go with colors. And so
I didn't really think about that, but yeah, but I was just thinking like all the other colors, which kind of seem useless with Rebellion. But yeah, I guess yellow would make the only sense,
It's kind of
possibly.
nice to have colors that are, I mean, not obviously like, oh well, if you're playing this path you have to play this. You have options, but I think that them kind of honing in a little bit easier does make the game more well-rounded in that way. Like people are more inclined to play more paths or powers when they have, you know what I mean? Like I think that that's like actually kind of maybe a good thing.
No, I think that's true, and I think it might be you might need to tinker the starting life, but I think the rest of it is pretty interesting. So I think it's in a really good place, and like I said, I don't think we'll get a good read on if it's good or bad in this tournament because
Right.
it's such a drastic change, and people just can't have time to really test it, and also they're really worried about their ladder rank, and so like
Of course.
creativity is a really weird place for that very
Yeah.
reason.
I guess that's true. So I did figure that if we were going to adjust it, it was going to be the starting life. It's more of just, we do have to kind of wait and see what people are doing because of the tournament, because of like ladder. So yeah, I get that.
I'm curious, Rune. What do you like this, or would you like buff something in the save house, like from
If
this
I
point?
was gonna do anything to it, like I would probably go back to the starting life to 5, but I need to play with it. So like I need to play with it, I need to test it, I need to run with it, and that'll be the first thing I do next season is mess around with safe house to feel like is it good as it is or does it need to be buffed? And so I don't have a good sense, and I won't
Yeah.
have a good sense for like I said, 10
Couple
days
weeks.
or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could always be wrong, but I'm almost confident. Again, I'm open to being wrong, but I'm almost confident the path is just useless. So
We're usually wrong though, so that's okay.
It's worth trying it
Are we
out.
though?
Obviously, if you guys really do feel like it is a problem, we can definitely like try and rework it a little bit,
I,
or
I
just like
can't
remove the.
I can't really comment because again the path was so insane that like
You have
everything nerfing
you
it
have
is
them.
even killing it is fine. Like
I mean,
You're like, oh well, you know what? If it just goes away, then whatever. But we actually need it to be playable at some point, like some level.
for sure.
yeah, sure,
For sure.
okay.
Yeah, and I think if we ask chat, are Tempest and Rune usually wrong? I think Tempest, the chat's going to say almost always, and so yeah.
Yeah, they're trolling. They're just joking.
Forbidden floors. That's
Just
all they're going to
saying,
say.
man.
All right, let's move forward. Command center, Tempest. What happened to command center?
So, nothing much. I just the mental right got changed from 0 to 1 cost.
Yeah.
Right,
Apart from the
but
first one.
your starting one is still 0. So anything after that is what costs 1.
Yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
didn't I say that? Oh, whatever.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
just
feel like
putting
this.
it clear for chat.
I don't think this is like as impactful as obviously this isn't as impactful as Safe House, right? This is like a slight tone down. It's obviously good. I don't know. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. I think, those free, like you kind of need it to be 0 for the pursuit just because that doesn't need to be able to catch up and you need to be able to put damage and pressure. And also you need to get rid of cards in hand. Like if it costs 1, like putting another card in hand that you can't get rid of, like is counterproductive to
Do you
the,
do you need the first one to be 0 though?
you do. If not, you would just never have fewer cards because you get one more card by going second, and then you would also get a second card by going second because you would get this mantle that you couldn't play. So you would just be stuck with more cards than your opponent, and therefore you would never get card draw. So you really do need the first one to cost.
You do realize Alliance paths usually run like super aggro decks with a lot of blood wolves.
I get that. I get
You
that. But
you
in the
you know you,
mirror, it would be horrible. You'd never a mirror ACC going second would be almost always losing.
but mirror just no one draws any cards in the mirror.
No,
Like,
that first
same.
person would draw cards.
Right.
Would draw at least one, if not 2.
If
Like
mono red and mono red play against each other, no one's gonna draw from Alliance.
Like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna kill my opponent. Mm.
no, it's got to cost 0. I think it's fine. Like it's not really that. I mean, it's
I
a good
feel like
card.
minions in general being free is kind of problematic, in my opinion, because it does make such a big difference. So I felt like both of the, the pursuits and the just in general having the ability to just put a 1/1 or a 1/2, you know what I mean? Like putting them on the field for just nothing. Like I was able to like protect eggs all the time. I always had the buff that I needed for whatever if I'm playing aggressive decks. And I just think that it can be very problematic. So I think that the same reason like ramen being nerfed, it kind of makes sense. It's like this is a really powerful thing. So it should cost something. I don't know.
Let me just check if there's beta makes. Okay, we're safe.
Yep.
You can.
Yeah.
He doesn't like people.
Ramen, how dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people are sad about that, but I do feel like, even as someone who enjoys playing very powerful cards, I think that a lot of stuff is just like, okay, that makes sense, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, ACC's big hit right, in this patch, and we'll get there, is to YP. Like YP just got eviscerated. So like instead of just getting rid of the path in the same way they did to Rebellion Safe House, because Safe House was using so many decks, they just eviscerated one of the more problematic, if not the most problematic win rate, ACC deck, and so it got hit in a different way for that very
It
reason.
was
So
definitely where we wanted to like kind of focus a little bit because it was the most powerful across
It
the
still
board.
lives mono red though, so that's another thing.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to look at that.
I think mono red is much more manageable than you do, Tempest. Like I love facing mono red. Like I think mono red's not good, but if you just
Yeah.
don't tech against it, it's gonna destroy you. And if it like God draws is gonna destroy you, but like so many decks, if they God draw, they're just gonna destroy you. So that's
Yeah, I mean, as they
that's part
should.
of card games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing to get a good consistency with mono red. Having 25 one drops and 15 two drops.
All right, let's keep going on. Ejecti's like pushing us. Bolster. Next minion we
this?
create gets +1/+1. Stops
And it
this turn.
lasts forever. Well, it's not
Yeah.
permanent, but what if you use bolster 4 times, the next minion play gets +4, right? +4.
Yep. We saw a game today with BMF was playing where they played the bird, the red green agile bird, and it was an 8/7 because they kept using bolster before they played. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Grisu was doing that. I like this change. I think this change is really good.
Yeah. I think that it makes it like people were just not playing it, and also it's like you have to put a lot. You have to actually plan ahead if you want to make something big in most of the situations, right? Like you're either playing below curve or you're doing something to try and to actually like affect your progression, I guess. So it kind of benefits to have something like this where it is just like extra powerful, I feel like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I mean, I think this power like is really fun with mid-range decks, and like mid-range has kind of been a non-existent
Exactly.
entity, right? And so this patch is trying to open up a space for mid-range.
Mhm.
Just being able to play a turn 3 that's like a 5/6, as we've seen some people be able to do, it makes it really more interesting. So you might have to miss a turn to be able to do that, but it's been fun to watch. Like Madoka's orange purple. I know that Tempest and Madoka had a best of 5 series, and Tempest got eviscerated by Madoka.
You do realize those decks were terrible, both mine and his.
I actually think Madoka's deck is good, but whatever. You can call it terrible. But Bolster's interesting. And Bolster we're going to see a lot with Disc, right?
Mhm.
Because it's just another power where you don't mind buffing things.
I don't think this power will be playable, but apart from memeing.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. I think we'll see a lot with Disc.
I
Like
think
being
that
able to
even
play a 4/5 Necro on turn 3 makes Necro a threat to where they have to deal with it.
yeah. I think that also like you don't have to you could literally do it for like, that turn, right? Like you could do just like, oh, it's a one mana 2/3 or something. You know what I mean? Like that's still like okay. I don't know. I'm just saying like in general, you could have a lot of different situations where it is worth to just hit it once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's literally worth to hit it once if you don't have anything smarter to play, so you get like half value.
I mean, with like Rush, you'll see this played. I think. I mean, I think you'll see it played. I think this will be a power that people will test and use. And I know it's one that I need to mess around with more.
Yeah.
I think it's better than you think, Tempest.
Well, I mean, I actually think it's F tier, so it's definitely better than what I
S
think it
tier?
is. I mean, whatever. F.
Hmm. Okay.
I think it's the worst. So anyway,
I'm a
Yeah, I don't
person
think it's that bad, but
Yeah.
it's not like the best power in the game, but it's not nearly the worst power in the game. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
all
I
right,
don't know, Lando. I think being bigger will matter. Oh wait, we're talking about. Never mind. Auto magic artillery got nerfed. From 2 armor to 1 armor. This is something unexpected. Can you elaborate on this decision?
This card was just kind of one of those cards that, a lot of people complained about, but we didn't want to. I mean, we still want a 6-cost card to be powerful. I think that this was just kind of the easiest way for us to kind of like give it a slight nerf and also make it still be impactful on 6. A lot of people really just it does have a very high win rate. And I think that just the amount of feedback that we did get about it made sense. So
I mean,
I don't.
not sure about like the high win rate. I like concerning this card. This isn't like a standard card. It's like very rarely played in a specific deck. So
But it's very good in the decks it plays. I think this is a good change. I think artillery was just such a oppressive defensive unit. It doesn't need armor 2.
I think no cards deserve armor 2. Maybe just Caravan Brace because it's so mediocre and well less than mediocre.
I'm not disagreeing with you there. Armor 2 is really painful to deal with, and so
Yeah.
I would not. I'd be okay with cards getting rid of armor 2 for that very reason. So
Yeah.
um,
I kind of just wish it kind of maybe got 7 life back, but it's not really a big deal. I don't really mind. Again, like none of the changes so far, and I think till the end I actually mind. It's all fine. But we have to talk about something. So
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
in my book, I'm just like, okay, good. I'm glad that you don't hate me right now.
No,
no, just give me a week or two, maybe we'll change.
I think I'm really happy with this patch. I don't think there's anything in
Yeah.
here that I'm like, oh, this is bad, and so I think that's.
Oh
good.
wait,
And
there's the Baba Yagas. Then we forgot about it.
Baba Yagistan is next, and I'm really happy with Baba Yagistan nerf. So
Such a hoop. What like okay?
this card just destroyed red aggro, right? Like if they had a 2 attack minion and they buffed it by 3 attack, it wouldn't even kill it, right? And so like
I
a
mean,
2
not
or 1
really. You just play a Vulcan Bread and kill it.
you
Oh,
can't
you
even
have that-
sometimes play a Vulcan brand and kill it if it's 6.
Exactly. Let me just make sure I have that in my hand at all times, just in case.
Like 6 doesn't Vulcan brand doesn't normally kill, and then it can heal, right? Being able to hit that 6 is a very difficult marker on turn 3. That's much more difficult than the 5 to deal with. Like Crimson Pact was the main way of dealing with it, and it's a good way of dealing with the Baba Yagistan. Again, I don't like seeing early cards completely destroy decks, and so it's different. Again, the same reason I don't like Believers, the same reason that I would say Baba Yagistan probably needed a nerf. Cards that cost 1, 2, and 3 should not like completely control and take over a game. And so I
Right.
think this is a good change for that very reason.
Yeah. Game deciding stuff is just never like you always want that to be like an impactful thing for later game.
Yeah. Lindo's agree. Like 3 mana mythic that stops
Stomp on it.
aggro is dumb. And it just shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's just shouldn't be in the place, especially the fact that this thing heals.
I weep for aggro.
You hate aggro. Like you think aggro is the most mind-numbing,
That game's
experience
aggro.
that anybody could have. And I don't know why you hate aggro so much, but Tempest, you really
I
have a
feel
strong
like
hatred towards aggro.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have strong hatred towards aggro in the Mythgard community, and it's just so much more impactful with the lane system. Like, I feel like, everyone's like, oh, aggro's brain dead, duh, duh, duh. But actually, in Mythgard, it's not. Like, what? It's not brain dead. It actually has, like, deciding points. It actually has things that's like, oh, I have to make sure that this, because of the threatening minions, it actually is way more thought-provoking.
I agree with you. I mean, I think there's ways in which
So we're here.
it becomes less thought provoking, and I think those are some of the things that kind of get dealt with elsewhere, right?
I guess I'll need to play again with throwing dice to decide what card I burn in aggro and what to play and win.
Yeah, agile things like that. I think we lessen those decision making things, and I think we'll see
Sure.
some of that changes later in the patch.
Mhm.
But all in all, lanes make aggro much more interesting to me.
Yeah.
And so I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Tempest doesn't think Yaga needed a nerf. I think it's a good nerf. I think it's a
I
dumb
don't
nerf.
mind. I don't mind it. It's just kind of weird. That
It's
yeah,
got.
got nerfed, and we have Necro and stuff like that, and Ecor Feast and whatever.
I mean, I would be for a nerf of both of those cards, but that doesn't mean that Yaga didn't need nerf. So like, yeah, I think
Also,
they're.
if you're never playing decks that actually are affected by a card, obviously your opinion is not really as valid, right? Like, if you're never getting crushed by that card, then you're like, I don't understand. Why are they nerfing this? It's like, okay, yeah, you really understand this.
Tempest. Oh,
I
just
did.
Rini
Although I
just
did play.
destroyed you. Rini just destroyed you in the nicest possible way ever.
I actually did play. I still have a mono red, and I did play a bunch of aggro decks. Never did
Oh,
I
look
have
at
problem with winning with
oh,
mono red, even
okay.
versus Jagas. Then easy,
Mm.
easy. Then I
Not
just
everyone
eat it.
can be 5-head like you. I'm sorry. You're right.
Just
Ah,
make effect.
they
Effect is
need
the
to get
opponent
better
draw.
then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Next up is Brindbound Believer. Tempest, take it away.
Well, what this is okay. So obviously the extra gem, right, cost has been added, but this is something I kind of realized is a mistake during the game. I played that there's the empower has also been changed to +2/+1. So that was a surprise. You know, when you take a free and then use believer, and you're like, wait, what? It's
Yeah.
a good change. Yeah, obviously believer was terrible.
Yeah.
I feel like it's at least making it less consistent. That it's just like played
Definitely.
on 2 empowered, and even then, like if you have a minion and then like you have, I mean, obviously it's not an ignition and you're killing it, but it is at least easier to deal with and it feels less bad. Um, I don't
You could
actually
also
know the
erode
reasoning
ignition,
behind.
right?
Sorry.
You could erode ignition before you couldn't do that to kill it if it
Hmm.
empowered, right?
Yeah, of course. Um, I don't really know the reasoning behind what this nerf decision was, so I can't really give insight on that. But I do know, I mean, I guess just, looking at it very plainly, it's very obvious that that card needed nerfed, but also this is easier to deal with. It's not as oppressive.
Yeah, and I think the problem with this card wasn't really the empower. It's just this fact that the random discard. Like random discard just feels bad, right? People don't like random discard. They don't like discard at all, but they especially hate random discard because
Right.
if you have a way of dealing with it and it gets discarded after it transforms, then you just throw your hands up and say
Well,
the RNG gods got me, and that
yeah.
doesn't feel good. Um,
I will say that I did bring up the discard thing, but again, I wasn't there for the process of actually affecting this card, so I don't know exactly like that mindset. But I know that that's one of the things that if it's still a problem, I am gonna bring up again. So we'll see.
I
This
hope
card,
it's not a problem. I don't think it will be. It's still going to feel bad when it happens.
Right.
Um, but my sense is that this card will not be in as many decks. Like I'm not going to include it in lots of red decks because I don't want to play 2 red gems right
Yeah.
on early in most of my decks that I play. I don't
Exactly.
play mono red aggro, and so
Yep.
maybe you play it in there, but it's going to be much smaller. Like the amount of decks that this card plays.
man, and I do play mono red aggro, and I get burned for not playing mono red by a person who doesn't play mono red aggro.
I don't. The reason I don't play it is not because I think aggro is good. I just don't play aggro. Like I want there to be aggro in the game.
Like
I think
the red yellow deck a lot, and I was playing that when I very first earlier this year, but I just didn't like mono red. It didn't feel very interactive to me in
Oh
comparison
my!
because it
This
just,
people.
I don't know, maybe it's also just the way that I'm used to playing Zoo, or like token decks or whatever, but I just felt like it was okay. Well,
Are you breaking out?
the dogs are going crazy.
yeah, there's dogs in the background and he barks when they bark, so yeah, I'm sorry. Uh, go lie down. So yeah, I don't know. I felt like red just didn't have as many things that it was all just minion based rather than like, okay, this minion is buffing this minion, etc. I really like things like gosh, what is the 3/4? Grit instructor, and then the 3/4 that
Bull.
The
yeah.
one that gives you armor and
Yeah,
stops
you
the
can only hit
damage.
Ah,
two.
yellow
Yes,
card.
that one.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
card too. I think that's a really fun card, and it's a
Yeah.
good way of keeping your aggro minions alive.
Yeah, it's good statted. It's just really, I feel like that's like the kind of games that I like playing, you know?
Yeah, it's
Um,
like it's mid grow. It's like mid range aggro. Like it doesn't just want like 5,000 1-drops and trying to take over that way. It's trying to make some thought decisions. And I really like yellow red, and I think yellow red is not dead. It just has to evolve. And so if people keep
Yeah.
playing it as they've been playing it, it's not going to be good.
right.
But if it's a little bit more mid range, like yellow has some really cool tools in this set that can push damage and do some cool things,
Yeah.
and really punishes you if you don't. Have an answer on turn 4 or 5. Like if for whatever reason, if you don't think through and don't play right, it's
Yeah.
gonna punish you.
Yeah, I really love it too. I think that that's one of the things that I want to look into more with some of the new stuff, especially like bolster and stuff, you know? So
Why? What's
I,
wrong with that, Ejecti? Why can't I say mid grow? What's wrong? What did I do? Tell me. Oh, great. Um, yeah. Next up, I'll let Rini explain the change that happened to Short Stag.
yes, we went from 7 uh 7 crystals to 8, and that is we're not doing anything crazy with the gems or anything. The stats are staying the same. But what we did was we changed it to 8 mana because a lot of our like very big power cards or like power plays are at 7 mana, and we feel like 7 is a really good point for that, but we have just kind of like contaminated the 7 mana like mark, like where across the board it's just like, okay, well now I have like 8 7s and like, you know what I mean? So I really like the idea. We wanted to kind of spread it out a little bit, and we felt like Short Stag made sense to be one of those cards that, you know, it is a very strong card. It makes a lot of sense for us to move it up to 8 instead of keeping it at that 7 mark. That was just kind of like a little bit of the mindset behind it.
I think this change will do relatively little, like in practicality,
Right.
which I think is fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think most decks that run this, um,
They're not insta casting.
burning to 7, burning to 8 is not going to be a huge difference. If it's Necro, it doesn't matter. You're probably playing Helicarrier in green if you're playing some sort of control-y aspect, and so you're going to want to burn to 8 anyways. And usually, like you don't want to play Stag as your first big minion, right? And so you want to bring something back that's you want to bring back. Sometimes you have to, and so those games it will hurt.
Yeah.
But generally, I think this one um, is the one that you can move to 8, and it doesn't affect its usage nearly as much. Like if you put EQ at 8, I think EQ just doesn't seem play. That's my thought. Like EQ is getting
Right.
cut right now, anyways, in lots of green lists.
Yeah.
Stag usually if is not going to get cut because what it does with bringing something back and has overrun and has some
Mhm.
damage mitigation factors. So I
I think
think
that's
this
why
one,
it
if you're going to move one to 8, this is the one you can move. But I also think this
exactly.
is a relatively minor move personally, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tempest?
Sure.
Very insightful feedback. Thank you. I just feel
Tempest
like
doesn't have anything to say.
why?
Tempest just wants Angel go back to 7/7. That's right.
I'm still a bit shocked about a person who doesn't play mono red and a gold rank commenting on mono red to me.
Telling you from my
It's not about
perspective,
that. It's
I'm
about
not saying
you don't
I'm
like
right or
aggro,
you're
and I think
wrong.
aggro is really important to exist in the game.
Yeah. I obviously, you know, I know that I don't get to play enough lately for it to be like for me to be champ or whatever. Even then, I will not be on your level. However, I still have insights that I would like to share, and whether you can explain, oh, because of this, and I will listen to you. But I'll still say what I think before that.
How am I the green? Tempest is the most greedy player ever. How am I the green? What is going on in chat? There is no more greedy player in this world than Tempest. Maybe other than like blah blah, who doesn't exist anymore. And so like, yeah, that's it.
uh,
Wow. This is hurtful, chat. This is
an
hurtful.
atrocity.
Yeah.
So dope.
we gotta make this more spicy. We got to add more drama.
More drama. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it was. Yeah.
yeah. Gotta spice it up like a good
Okay.
soup, whatever that means. So this
Uh-huh.
is doper, and it's this. When I saw this, I didn't really expect this card to be ever nerfed, and this was like a hugely pleasant surprise to me. Can you give us a bit more info, Rini?
Yeah. I mean,
How did this come up?
well, so like said, we did the survey in Discord, and I feel like a lot of people just when they play against Doper and it just like they can't deal with it right away, it just grows out of control very quickly. And it's just one of those cards that a lot of people felt like it can snowball really easily. Um I feel like one drops or like early game drops that are this snowbally are problematic. So, for example, I'm gonna have some haters here. In Hearthstone, there was a card very similar to this called Undertaker, and it would get +1/+2 or +1/+1 anytime you played a death rattle minion. Okay. But this is similar in that, but you don't even need the support. So automatically you're like, okay, I'm just gonna health, attack, growing exponentially, and you don't always have a good way to deal with it. Obviously if you can deal with it early game, then that's cool. But especially I feel like people who are less familiar with the game, this card probably wins them a lot of games. Um, so yeah, I feel like again, you can see here that it's a steamroll card that is really low cost. We don't like that.
And let me just say, I think this Doper is good still. I think Doper is still
Yeah.
a really good card. We'll talk about some other
Damn, I feel like Rune has been wrong a bunch of times today.
like Egg, I think is bad. I think Doper is still good. And I think Doper is still one of the best one drops in the game. It is basically a 3-1 now on turn 2. Instead of it being a 2-2 on turn 2. It becomes a little bit more aggro, and I guess it can be dealt with, but it also pushes damage a little bit quicker now. So on turn 1, it used to always be a 0-3, or it could be a 2-1, and then it could turn into a 2-2. This one now it can be a 1-2 that turns into a 3-1. And so if you have ways of putting enchantments down to protect it, things like that, it still can steamroll. Yes, it's more answerable, but it also has potential to deal more damage more quickly in this iteration of the card. And so,
You do see it's like a 1/1 and you +2 -1. Is it -1, right? So
yeah, but so
even
it can be a 1-2 on the turn you play it, right? Because you can use the utility action and
yeah.
make it a 1-2, and then the next turn you can make it a 3-1 on turn 2. So a 1-drop on turn 2 that is a 3-1 is still really strong.
Yeah, but then it dies to X-Men, Ignition, everything.
It yes, there are
It's
things
easier to
that it
deal with.
dies to.
Yeah. I mean, but
Um,
think about like if I put a doper on the board on one and I'm just like buffing it to hell, and then I put an insta beast on it, no one can deal with that. Like I don't know, you have to have like really big power plays to actually deal with something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
It feels it needed to be nerfed.
No, it definitely is a nice nerf.
Mhm.
Unexpected, but nice.
and I don't even think it's that big of a nerf. Like I said, I don't think so. I think it's just going to change the decks it's played. It's probably not as good with Grit Instructor anymore.
Mhm.
It's probably better with something like Ultra Gem, which is what it was really good with in E1. So like being able to have basically now on turn 2, you can have a 3/3 with focused 1, right? That's a strong card, and Ultra Gem is a really good enchantment that doesn't see the amount of play that it should. And I think Doper and Ultra Gym were always meant to go together because that's, the Doper needs to go to the Ultra Gym. It works better that way with the Ultra Gym. I think it works better with, maybe as it was intended. And it's still, I think, a very playable, should be included in most aggro yellow lists. It might be the only one drop from yellow that you want to play. And so you're going to find another color where you want some other one drops. But I think it's still very good.
I'm not sure if Rune is joking or being serious.
I'm very serious. I think it's good. I think it's good.
There you go. Yellow, purple, not edge, just play Ultra Gym. Easy.
I think Ultra Gym is a very good card. I think Doper is still a good card. Not very good, but still a good card that should see play and is probably the best one drop in yellow at the moment.
Things to think about is that obviously the cards that you know as being good right now are slightly, it has a potential to switch over as well. Like, obviously, with all of these changes, different things are going to be utilized more or less than they were.
Eject is pushing us to talk, move on.
All right, chat. Does anybody else agree with me? Is Doper still playable? Please let us know. We're going to move forward, but come on, chat. Come on. There's got to be somebody out there that thinks Doper is still.
How wrong is Rune? 9 or 10 out of 10?
Even if you don't agree, just disagree with Tempest.
Doper fine, logic says. Ejectees,
Yeah, well,
he knows nothing about the game, and it's just bad, so that's fine. He can say what he wants. Nobody takes Ejectee seriously. All right.
Jesus.
I might get muted, and if I do, yeah, that's quite possible. Grand finale. I'll take this one. Grand finale moved from 7 to 8. Another pushing up into that 8 spot. And as it says here, people want this card to be 10. I think this card can be 13. It's still good. 8 is better than 7. But the problem isn't necessarily this card. The problem is the forged minions that cost so much, and the fact that you can get 3 of them, and how good forged mechanic works. And so, given how forged works and given the high cost, this card is still bonkers in the right deck. Yeah.
That we just want to see if it makes an impact and like slowly go at it rather than just like making a massive nerf, because we already did that a little bit earlier in the the list that we had. So I feel like it's just we're wanting to be cautious.
Yeah. This card is one I had like 75,000 ideas of how to nerf this thing to oblivion. But this is a very gentle nerf.
We'll do those 75,000 ideas on the next podcast.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that. But I do want to say, obviously, part of the reason this nerf is like it was done during a live like balance, and we have to be careful about if we're wanting to nerf something, we need to make sure that it is actually like I guess we want to be more mindful about it, because if we change the text, we have to get translations from every single language that we support to adjust it. So it takes a little bit more time with stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of like one of the things that we want to be really careful about as well. So
yeah, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still bonkers good.
Changing text takes time. Just say the number. Yeah, done.
Just make it 13.
Yeah.
Just make it 13.
Rune says it's still going to be good, even if it's 13. So.
Yep. All right, we're gonna keep going.
There you go. All right, sorry. Juiced.
Ejectee wants us to go. We're going to Juiced. What happened to Juiced?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure,
okay. So, Juiced, we feel like, it's just one of the most powerful cards. Like it really just I feel like adding the extra gem makes it still playable. It's just not as early, which is kind of what we want. We want to just slow down a lot of the purple, especially like aggro, because it is so I don't want to say oppressive, but it is very high win rate. So I feel like Juiced was one of those cards that like was just a defender and apparently had needed to be nerfed for a long time. So I feel like it was inevitable that this would happen.
I mean, that's what else to it. I mean, it's also we gotta take into account that how we haven't gotten to the egg, right? And the Doper and the egg have been fixed, so it kind of makes more sense.
I think Juiced is going to have to hit the nerf again. That's my
Yeah,
thought.
I also do think, but now it seems fine. But when new cards come or something, yeah, it could very
It could
well
still be a
just.
problem.
It's
I mean, it
it
has
does
a dis-
so much for 2, right? It gives
Mm.
3 minions +1/+1, and it gives that move action. And
I'm
so
right.
yeah, I was like, would pretty much it would be better if it either doesn't have the move action or if it doesn't give life. Just one of those three has to go. I think.
Right, that makes sense.
I mean,
I
I
mean, it has
think
a nearly 60% win rate, so
yeah, the card's great. The card's great, and I think it's okay right now as Tempest said, but I do think as E3, E4, whatever, there's going to be a time when this card's just stupid good again, and it will get hit again. I'm almost positive that it might not be today, but it will be at some point. And so,
there's gonna be another card that's made it as like, oh well, that works a little too well.
yep,
Yeah, it's part
yep,
of the constant balance. All right.
yep.
Sister
Sister
Spitfire.
Spitfire, Tempest.
Yeah, just lost one life. Okay, I don't know why. I don't think anyone complained about Sister Spitfire. I don't mind it being weaker, but
It also stopped the mana cost, right? The mana cost is now has to be in.
okay. I should probably read the entire card.
Tempest and reading. That's the most iconic duo in the game. Yep, can't read. But you see this win rate, right? This win rate is 59.9.
I don't think this win rate means literally anything because like what's the win rate or the bronze games, silver games, gold, Mithril,
this is Mithril
casual,
higher.
2 versus 2, Pandora's event, like
This
it's
is
all.
Mithril and champion only. They explain that in the article if you read it. So
Reading
win
them
rate is
again.
only Mithril and champion,
Is it ranked or a
only
casual?
ranked in Mithril champion.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Now
I'll,
he's okay with it. He's like, oh,
I'll,
look,
I'll
this
throw
is
my
a dumb
fishing rod
change.
and pull it
Oh
back.
wait,
No.
it's us. Okay, got it. Okay. So I will say that Sister Spitfire is just like a little bit too good in general, but we also didn't want to only um I mean we felt like purple kind of needed another nerf, and one of the other cards we were looking at we decided against, and so this kind of like it was in that range of like this is too good and I think that this is a good time to nerf it. Um we almost put it again, like you can see here it says we almost put it to 2 gems and we decided against that because of the Xerxian. um so I feel like because obviously if you get a card from a card you want to be able to play it, and you can do like splashing very easily like that. So yeah, I mean, we just felt like this needed a little bit of a nerf, the little bit of less health, and also making it to where the mana cost is lower makes it more reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Agile is just so powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the most powerful mechanics, and I think it's one of the mechanics like Rush. You just have to be very careful, and so
Yeah.
if you give things agile, um, you have to really minimize it. And this is like I think I go back to like the card like broke my heart when he got nerfed, which is Kite. Like Kite used to be give anything agile, and like this is before your day, way
Right.
before
Yeah.
your day.
Yeah.
The purple patch where they like buffed like 84 purple cards, and then they nerf like 2 purple cards, and one was my favorite purple card, and so like I still
I,
That
hold
I,
card is broken.
I,
minors for this.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure 99% of people don't even know Kite is a card or what it does. And Ron
I
is like,
read about it.
no, this card, which I never play except this one time.
I
No, my
love
card is
I played
broken.
it all the time. It was such a great card. It was like it probably had like a win rate of like 33%, and it still got nerfed. But it got nerfed for a good reason, but it
Yeah.
still broke my heart.
I feel like that is kind of why we didn't do attack on Sister Spitfire, because if like you do like, oh, okay, 4 or less attack, and then you just insta beast it, it's like, okay, well that's not really helping anything, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got a stretcher nerf, -1 durability,
Yep.
Which
which is
which
fine
just so
because
that
stretcher is just toxic.
you
Cuxinga.
hate Stretcher, Tempest. Like Stretcher's your least favorite card, maybe in the game.
One of the.
Cuxinga one-shotting this is really nice. I feel like the one durability was just so depressing when you would do it, you know? So I
Yeah.
feel like this is it feels a lot nicer because it is such a annoying card to deal with.
It is. It is. I mean, it's sad that like an extremely oppressive card is the answer to this card because I hate Koxinga because I think it just does way too much for a 5-drop. And but this card I have no problem with it being nerfed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it Koxinga, any better. So I think
There's
it's a
not a
good
lot
nerf.
of
I actually don't. I think the only. But here's the thing about this. I don't think it needed a nerf. I think the only reason Stretcher was good is because Safe House was good, right? And so the Safe House nerf fundamentally took care of the Stretcher because you're not going to see decks that like don't do anything and just draw cards and want to do absolutely nothing for as long as possible. So
Yeah.
Stretcher was a really important card in the meta. Because of how oppressive Safe House was. And so the Safe House nerf alone was enough of a nerf to Stretcher
Okay.
for that very reason.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're moving on already to Thunderbird Egg, and we adjusted it just to 3 energy instead. I feel like this card has been we've already nerfed it once. If we had made it a 0-2, it would probably just never hatch or would just not really be playable. And so this made the most sense to us. I think that also the keeping the I guess the aspect of, oh, it's hatching over the energy time, we wanted to keep that rather than like, oh, well, when on demise or something, right? So this is that's kind of like the mindset behind Thunderbird Egg.
As I'm concerned, it could be 13 mana. I'll be fine with that change.
I actually
What?
think Thunderbird was fine. Like I think this is a weird one.
Oh my god, I think Rune was wrong like 10 times today.
I think Thunderbird is like not a huge deal. I thought it was the cards around Thunderbird that were the problem. This change is fine to me. I think it's not playable. Like it's just Thunderbird didn't like give like the ascendant.
I think someone spiced the rules.
It was easy to block. There's ways of dealing with it. Again,
Uh-huh.
I'm fine with this because I didn't like this card, but it wasn't
think-
because it was too good. It just was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I never did understand all the outrage to Thunderbird Egg that the community have, and so I mean, this is a good
You mean
chance.
pre-nerf? You mean pre the last nerf, or you mean after?
I don't even remember if I was okay. I think I might have been okay with the last one. I don't
It
remember,
did
but
like 2 damage to every minion or something. Yeah. But okay, I will say I agree that 0-2 is stronger than this version, but I guess that we're trying this one out before we switch it. I personally think that the 3 energy might be just like by that point is it not valuable anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we also didn't want to nerf the bird, like the actual like when it hatches, because you want it to be impactful. So yeah, I mean, definitely something that we're gonna keep in mind and I want to look at as well. It's an omelet. Don't say that.
Logic. I mean, Believer won games. Believer turned into a Scylla. Like this thing turned into a 4-3 that doesn't have agile, that doesn't have stupid abilities. I'm not saying I care that it was nerfed. I just don't think it's anywhere near that oppressive. And waiting a couple turns for a 4-3 that did a little bit of damage was fine. I give it. This card's now not playable, and so I'm fine with it not being not playable. But I don't think this was a big problem. Personally, Doper was much bigger problem.
I trusted Rune, and
all the other
broke my heart. You broke my heart, Rune.
Again,
It's
I'm happy. I'm happy because a lot of my decks just like lost to yellow purple, but I still don't think yellow purple was nearly as bad as other people said. Whatever. That's
Feel bad
cool.
for people, like
That's cool. I can be wrong. Other people can be wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm wrong all the time.
I mean,
That's
we are
not a
too,
big
which
deal.
is why testing this all
You're right
out, seeing
now.
how it
You're not
goes.
wrong now.
I think that's why we want to like test it out and kind of see, how it feels after this. It will probably take us a couple weeks just to get more of an idea, and even then, it might be 3 or 4 weeks before we actually get a really good grasp on it, just because of the tournament and everything, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, we want to keep an eye on this stuff that we just adjusted, kind of get an idea of like, okay, how does this open things up? Like, what does this, cause? So, I think we're all
I
like
think,
just excited for that.
yeah, I think this is like probably, as far as I remember, like the best patch we had so far.
The last time that Noah was on, you said that you really loved the patch.
There were some
So,
extra ideas in his patch, and I kind of was like, "What?"
okay.
I think most patches have been good lately. I think the 100 card buff, that one was not good, but like
There was
I
a
was
lot of
not here
like,
for
what?
that.
like that was a rough time. Again, me and Tempest both like think like there's lots of balance issues, and like you have to get at them over time. But I think the game continues to get in a better place over time. And so
Which way
I'm
is sad
happy with
though.
the last 3 patches. I like the patch before. Me and Tempest both really like the patch before it too.
Yeah.
Like a
Good.
bunch of yellow and green cards, we thought that was great. But when you just have such a mass amount of really good cards, like we saw, like yellow green still real good. You can you can nerf a lot of things in yellow green and it's still real good. And like here, my sense is yellow green is still going to be real good. And that's
Oh.
it just takes time. And I think I mean I have hope and that it continues to get better. And I think it has been getting better. So I think
Yeah,
these are all good changes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well
I'm
done on the
excited.
changes. That's
Thank you. I'm really glad that it came out like that, because I was a little bit nervous. I want to answer this question. Did BMF influence Safe House nerf? Yes or no? I will say that I absolutely was like, so I think that these memes are really funny on Reddit, but they're kind of clogging the Reddit and making us look bad. so so yeah, I definitely was like, I really just here's a list of the stuff, here's the survey, but nerf safe house, okay? Like that was a lot of it. I'm not even gonna lie. And I will say that, like, obviously, BMF's memes were funny, so people at least like had a good time with it. But our Reddit I just don't want it to be clogged with only that. So yes, BMF is a hero. Yeah. So you're welcome, Mythgard. There you go. Good job.
Yeah,
Um
good job, BMF. We appreciate
that
it.
that being said, don't just continue to do that on everything, because I really can't deal with that on the Reddit. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the outcome of a lot of this. I'm excited to see what happens after the tournament. So yeah, I'm pretty thrilled.
All right, before we go, Rini, what do we have to be looking forward to? You have anything you want to share with the community while we have you? And I think we
All
have a few
right.
questions for you as well.
Cool. Okay, great. So I will say that E3 is obviously, we're working on that, but I can't give you any information on that at all. However, we're doing a few things that are just like small, like I guess like small little things that are kind of helping in general. So one of the things is that we are revamping our daily rewards, the login rewards. And you can have a chance to receive an exclusive cosmetic after logging in for 7 days in a row. So that's a cool thing. We obviously have more Pandora modes coming soon. Um, the tournament is on the 15th. Am I right on that?
Yep, 15,
Yep,
16.
yep. 15th,
Yep.
16th, 11 a.m. ET. So that's gonna be exciting.
Are you casting that one? Do we know?
I am not casting that one. I will say that Flake and Christo are both casting again, but we did also be like, we did give them a little bit of a maybe play the game a little bit more beforehand. That would be ideal. I feel like again, I don't have anything really against either of them. I like Crystal a lot. I Flake is fine, but yeah, it was one of those things that we just really wanted. Like, it's like, okay, people can tell, you know what I mean? So that was a thing. And we have new like visual updates for our website because we were in need of that. So there's a lot of just different small aspects kind of coming in, nothing crazy big. But yeah, that is kind of like what we're working on right now.
Nice.
I'm gonna get fired now. Great.
Rune's showing his forehead to the stream.
I'm writing down notes. Sorry. I actually try to listen and think through what I'm going to say next instead of,
Oh.
never listening, never reading, and just talking. It's cool.
Did you say something, Rune?
I mean, yeah. No, I think that's great. Yeah, and I mean, I think I did appreciate you and Noah's, casting. So I was nothing against anything there. I think y'all did a great job last time on that Saturday. So I appreciate that. And it's always good to have rhinos. And so, somebody from the rhino stop by something. I think that's great as well. It's always fun to have rhinos on those streams. And so
I feel like just because I don't get to play as much as I would like, so I'm not as familiar with a lot of the cards or like the typical decks that you would see. So I feel really self-conscious casting because I'm just like, I don't know what that is, you know.
Yeah,
And
like
that
Rini
hurts.
didn't even know what Kite Glider does. Like, come on.
What am I gonna do? Honestly, if I don't know that, I'm really just done. So yeah, no, I would like to be more proficient before I start casting again because I really do I enjoy casting, but I feel big dumb. So yeah.
well, you're doing great things for the community, and
Thank
these
you.
changes are great. And so
Thank you.
I know you'll get there. So that's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
And then I had a question that there's a couple questions come in chat. One is when are we going to get a battle pass? Do you have any idea? Is battle pass on?
Battle Pass, to my knowledge, is not something that we're in the works for. I can definitely reach out and ask about if there's anything in regards to that kind of thing, but currently nothing that I know of.
Tempest might not even know what battle pass is. Do you know what it is?
No, yeah, that was my question. What is the battle pass? You don't have to answer. It's not important.
No, you have no
I'm
idea what it
gonna
is. I'm
not.
almost
No,
positive.
No, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Go ahead, Rune. Go ahead, tell him.
I mean, battle passes are usually you get some sort of rewards, cosmetic, whatever, for over a set period of time, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is. And as you progress, you get different rewards, often cosmetic, just as a way of trying to make money.
It has
Battle
nothing
pass.
to do with battle or passes.
Well, it's as you battle, you
Yep.
progress, you pass, like you
You
pass
pass.
games, like that's what you call it, right?
As you battle, you
It-
pass. Ah, okay.
Yeah, totally your language. Come on. You get new cool stuff, and so it's a way of generating money that maybe makes it more cosmetics or some other things that you get through those that you might not need, and it's something that a lot of games do and a lot of people like, and so there's been some desire
Discussion,
from the community for a battle pass system
but
within
not like
Mythgard.
Hearthstone.
I don't know. Like that's the one thing he should get because that's all he talks about is passing games. I don't get it. Another question I had: what
Mhm.
is your favorite breed of dog?
Oh
Scooby-Doo.
gosh, okay. Let me explain something. I trained dogs for 15 years. I have been working with animals for more than 2/3 of my life. Okay, and I don't have a favorite breed because it changes sometimes, but also there's different, it depends on like the situation. Like I really love giant 150, 200 pound, I don't know, like 100 kilo dogs, okay? Like like a lot. um I really like giant dogs, but I also like golden retrievers are super easy to love, but I also, my dog right now is an Australian cattle dog, which is like mm, super hard working dog. Like they were bred with border collies, but then also with like dingoes so that they would just go. So yeah, he's 11 now, but it was like 3 or 4 hours a day of exercise. So, yeah, I will ramble about that too long, but yes, don't have a favorite breed. Really love a lot of different breeds. There's some breeds I don't like, but overall, love dogs.
It's like she's contesting for a dog president. He's just, no, I love all the dogs the same. It's fine.
I feel like you know how some people are like, oh, there's some dog breeds that I don't like, and then you have to go into this whole like, well, here's why this dog is really ugly or really annoying or something. I don't know. Then I don't want to be that person. Mm.
Got
So.
it. Tempest, do you have any questions?
Well, wait,
We've
what are
got
your
like,
favorite dogs?
Whatever you want. Whatever you
my
want.
favorite dogs, Scooby Doo. He solves crimes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Tempest, anything.
I want to know how old was Rini when she first got drunk?
When I first got drunk.
I get fired.
I'm not gonna get fired. This is like my own time. Whatever. So I actually didn't like drinking a lot because when I was growing up, I my parents let us drink around the house, and they were like, as long as you don't leave, it's fine. This kind of gives you an idea of like what it feels like, so you don't be stupid at parties. And my brother and I would like occasionally like drink around the house, but I just didn't really care that much. However, when I started dating my first serious or second serious boyfriend, he was like, oh, I was like 20, which
When you
is
started doing your first serious boyfriend?
yeah,
Alright.
I was. But wait, really quick. So when I was 20, in the States, you have to be 21 to legally drink.
Oh yeah.
And so he was like, all right, boot camp, because otherwise on your birthday, when you go out drinking, you're just going to pass out. So literally he would be like, all right, here's a beer, here's a shot, here's some water, chill out a little bit. Here's some beer, here's a shot, you know? And, I got wasted that night because even though I was doing that, my tolerance was just garbage. Um, so yeah, I was 20. Yep.
Tempest was probably 7, but
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
14.
went-
14.
I went on a wine. We like in Lubbock, Texas, which is butt fuck nowhere. Can I say that? I
Mhm.
don't know. Anyway, yeah.
I
So
think I think
in
it's
the
too
middle of
late if
nowhere.
you can't say.
Anyway,
You
well,
fucking
whoops,
can't say that.
whoops.
Oh no.
Um, so so now it was like you know, you could get free wine tastings, so we would go every single year and do like an entire day of that and then just eat steak after. So um one of the times we went, you know, we had gone for 2 or 3 years prior. We go up this year and we're like, oh shit, there's another winery that we didn't know about. So we go there and it's like in the middle of nowhere, of the middle of nowhere, like back roads. You're like, what, Google Maps? You're like, I don't understand. You finally get there and they're like, people, come in, yes. And we're like, okay. And they pour us tastings that are like a third and 2/3 of the glass full, and I felt bad spitting it out, so I just drank it all. And then we went with the final like winery we were gonna go to was my favorite one, where I always buy a specific wine. And I was too drunk. My ex was like, "You're not allowed to go. You're going home." So yeah, I don't drink too often, but occasionally that happens. Yeah. Mm. So
Wow. The question Tempest was supposed to ask that was wanted to know is, what is your favorite Mythgard card?
Oh
But
yeah, that's actually what I wanted to know.
what correct? Very easy to slip up, by the way. Um,
Yeah, it's like almost the same. Just a couple of letters different.
Totally.
so, um, I'm gonna sound like a problem, but I actually really love and I'm not gonna remember the name now, even though it's in my deck. The 3/3 that when you play an item on it gains attack and health. The +1
Uh-oh.
+1.
Uh-oh. Tritros.
Hero.
Tritros
Yeah,
is your
hero.
new best
Yes,
friend.
hero is my favorite card now. I hoarding hero. Thank you. Yeah, I literally, especially like with safe house the way it was before, or ACC even, like you can just do so much stuff, and it just makes me so happy because everyone's like, that card fucking sucks. And I'm like, here's that 1313, get fucked. You know, like, it's so fun. I just really enjoy it. So yeah, it makes me happy. Obviously I like a little bit of like the memes on top of like actually playing like, proficient decks, but but yeah, it makes me happy. I like that card a lot. So
You were not alone. You were not alone. There are plenty of good players who love that card. It's a fun card.
oh good, okay. I'm glad.
We are out of time. This was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, Rini. I think we're going to have
Yeah.
you back and not talk about balance and talk about other things. You and Tempest just talking for 60 minutes would probably be the highlight of chat.
I'll do it.
Yeah, we would love that. And I will be happy to be quiet and just watch and just listen. But
You could be wrong in the background.
I can totally be wrong all the time. That's right.
Oh God.
But thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for your work. Thanks for all the community managing that you do. It's not an easy job. You put in a lot more hours than you probably ever imagined when you signed up for this job. But it's
For sure.
been good getting to know you, and we look forward to getting to know you more in the future. Any final thoughts, Tempest?
No.
Any final thoughts, Rini?
Just gonna thank everyone for being here and watching the stream, and I'm here for you guys, so I just want you guys to know that. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. And that's it. See y'all soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Tea time with Runepest.